Well, hello. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. I've been thinking a lot about sound design and field recording over the past week. That's just what's been on my mind. When I choose to watch an educational video, it's usually on those topics. And so we might continue that theme today. I think I'd like to record a few things for my library that I know that I'm kind of lacking, and I have the opportunity at the moment to do it. So maybe that's fun. Let me know what you think. Are there any sound designers in chat? What do I use for field recording? I will get to that in a little bit. What do you think about Nuendo 13? I don't think about it at all. Never thought about Nuendo. Never considered it. I don't like Steinberg that much as a company. My brain doesn't get along with their software very well. We may have already seen this, but I made this little shelf. Got some scrap wood on the walk home from school Friday evening. And so I made a little shelf. It's not great, but it's functional. So it's just some scrap wood that I found. It was already painted. It doesn't quite fit on the frames of the acoustic panel, so it's a little jank on one side, but it's sturdy enough that will allow me to have my drum machines. So I've got my RD6 and I've got my Volca sample here. I've got the little Racket drum synth up there as well. Underneath, I've got a pedal power supply, which powers all these devices and more. I need space for pedals next. So I've got my Electronic Hall of Fame here, which sounds great on synths. But mainly, it has 100% wet output, and that's kind of needed, I think, for that setup. Can see a UPS delivery note there. Yeah. Okay, I ordered my wife a pair of shoes that she wanted. I checked the size of her regular shoes, saw it was 6.5 women's. Searched the internet for these shoes. One place had them. I see 6.5, I click it. It's a little more, like, the price of the shoes alone is fine. $70 shipping. Kind of rough, but it's Christmas. It's a Christmas present. May as well just get something that I know that she'll like. I got the address wrong. They refused to change the address. It had the apartment number, but not the street number. They refused to fix it. I was like, fuck it. We'll see what happens. And then it arrives, and there's a $48 customs fee on it because it's coming from Hong Kong. I thought it was coming from the US. So now these shoes that are like cheap and will only last a year, like $210 or something like that. The biggest problem with all of this, it's the wrong size. I should have ordered 4.5, not 6.5. So now I've got this $200 pair of shoes that's going to cost me $100 to ship back to Hong Kong to maybe exchange. This pair of shoes is now $300 and she's not going to want to wear them. I don't know what we're going to do. I told her about this problem. She's like, yeah, don't bother. But now we've got this $200 invested in shoes that are ugly. They're lime green Converse, and they're authentic, and this company authenticates them and all this shit. I might try to sell them locally, but I've got a huge pile of stuff that I've been holding on to sell locally, and I just never get around to it. Let's see them. No. Too many bad memories. I got that shipment. I didn't open it for like 4 days because I was already mad about the shipping price. She had a dream that I ordered shoes and it was the wrong size. It wasn't these shoes, but sunk cost fallacy. I need to spend more. I need to pay for shipping back to get even a partial refund. It's stress that I don't want to deal with. Back to the sound design topic. This morning I was making a playlist of sound design videos that I've seen recently. This all started last week with, I think I mentioned it last week, this Diablo 4 Magic tutorial, how to create modern Magic game audio, part 2. It must have been part 1 that I mentioned it, because I took some techniques from it. I started watching this one, and then I ended up on Aftertouch Audio's knife throwing sound design tutorial, which I thought was pretty cool. Not a Reaper tutorial. This one is actually, the Diablo one is. And then I ended up going through a bunch of Aftertouch Audio's Magical Textures sound design stuff. Great series of free videos. And then I just had a bunch of other things on my watch later list, and then I keep checking my recommendations. This video from Laxman, I haven't started watching it. Like I'm like 30 seconds in, and I know that because it's Faceplant, it's going to be really in depth. This is actually like a tutorial, plus you can buy like a pack of a whole bunch of different, pretty realistic engine sounds that I think is really cool. I haven't dug into that. I know that's going to be like a full day project to experiment with that, learn it, and all that stuff. Anyways, there's some really cool stuff. I'm going to set this to unlisted, and then I will share it with you right now. On the Discord, you can link me some of your favorite sound design tutorials. Not like synth-based, like how to make this bass line sort of sound design tutorials, how to make this bass sound, how to make this a lead sound. I'm not really interested in dulls. I like them, but for this, I'm thinking game audio, sound effects, sort of sound design. I would love to have some links for that. So I saw that video and I thought I gotta record more sound effects again. And I want to do field recording, ambiences and found sounds and things like that. So I started working on tweaking my field recorder setup, which now looks like this. Okay. So starting at the bottom, we've got a tripod. I've got this Manfrotto. I don't really know what it's called, but it's got the baby pin size holes with a thing you're supposed to put your camera on it. It's actually upside down. You can mount your camera on it, and then you can quick add it to any like grip gear. The Zoom F3 on it, a handle, and then up here I've got my Rode NTG2. Not the world's greatest shotgun mic, but it's fine. It's the one I have. I noticed that you get a lot of like resonance from the case if you don't put the battery in it. It's kind of weird. The springs from the battery actually get picked up by the mic. So I just keep a battery in it, whether I need it or not. Right angle cable, pretty short. This whole thing can fold up by doing this. So that's fairly compact. And then this whole bottom part can twist off. But having feet so I can just put it down somewhere really helps. And then at first I had the weight up at the top. I had this whole section up here, right by the mic. Unfortunately, it was too like top heavy. Now it's much more balanced having the weight low because the field recorder is much heavier than the mic. And so I can go like this, or I can even tip it like this and get a longer reach on something. I might actually pull this screw out because that's bothering me. I have not gone out to do anything with it. There you go. Thanks, Dylan. Manfrotto 143BHT. I've got two of them. It was really important for me to buy them once I found out about them, and then they sat in the box for a year. I did use them probably a little bit, but then I just switched to other quick release things. I can unscrew this thing on the back, and I can actually rotate the whole field recorder around. The whole thing is probably 5 pounds. Most of the weight is the field recorder. To keep the headphones on here, I've just got a little bit of that cable management wrap stuff. That seems to work okay. That's about it. There's lots of, like a stupid amount of little adapters in here. Attach all of the film gear to the microphone gear. It's just a lot of it. I think we'll use this a little bit today. What sort of field recording then looks the business? I want to like go outside to the back of my apartment and like hit the dumpster and get that sort of like large resonance. You can't get like a big metal resonance without lots of metal. Water, any sort of random texture, construction, things like that can be useful. What's the best first small MIDI controller to use with Reaper? I think any of them will work. I do like the Arturia ones. Just watch out that you don't get one that's not velocity sensitive. I think a few of them are. Korg's got a little, like, I think a Bluetooth one but it's not velocity sensitive. Just think about like, do you need knobs to control plugins? Do you need velocity sensitive keys? Do you need full size keys? All that stuff. I think there's an option for like any sort of criteria you have. And they're all like under $200. So it's not a huge investment, but it's going to be really useful to have something. While you're deciding, there's also the virtual MIDI keyboard in Reaper where you can use your typing keyboard to send MIDI. But again, it's not velocity sensitive and it's kind of clunky. I cut up a cantaloupe this morning for the kids' lunches. So I've got a bunch of cantaloupe gore and I want to record that, squishing sounds and dripping stuff. I want to get some like fizzy sorts of sounds. I've got water sizzles and water drops, but I wanted to get some like steam sounds. I just put like a little bit of water in the Instant Pot, heat that up, pressurize it for like 1 minute, and then and just release the steam. I think that will be useful. I made chili last night, but I was in too much of a hurry to record the steam. A water spray bottle, like a water spray on aluminum foil. I noticed that that's kind of an interesting sound. I was cooking something. I did sort of like a fake tandoori chicken, and I sprayed oil on some aluminum foil to reduce sticking and such. That's an interesting sound. I want some like small interaction sort of sounds, so like touching different surfaces. And I don't know if like just a finger tap or if I have to hit it or what. I don't have a lot of really small sounds, which could be used for like UI sounds or things like that. Little interactions. So I got some like cookie sheets, baking pans, frying pans, things like that. Maybe just like a quick tap on each one will give us some sounds. How am I gonna get chain link fence in the apartment? When I take my gear out, I will do that. But actually, I don't have a way of streaming while doing outdoor sound design, or not sound design, field recording. But unless I do it from the phone, and that might not work. He's going to bed. If you don't know, that's Beans. Before we do the sound design stuff, little script shout out. So I found this morning. I guess this was just posted a couple days ago. There is a little UI script for manipulating the time stretch parameters in Reaper. So rather than going to item properties and go through that drop-down menu 1,000 times, there's now this little script called restretch that allows you to adjust all this stuff. And this is made for the extreme time stretch RIA mode. One little menu where you can see all the parameters at once, select them really quickly. I believe they've also just updated for the other mode, the repeating re mode. I thought I saw that. I'm going to put that in the chat if you're interested in that. I don't know if it's in Repack yet, but you can get it on their GitHub. It's just a single Lua script. That's something to pay attention to if you do time stretch. It's definitely related to the sound design stuff that we're talking about. So a new project that has been started. Did you buy anything for Black Friday? The only Black Friday deal that I think I got, I guess that's not true. Not the only one. Bedroom Producers Blog released a new plugin called Dirty VHS. So it's just a little like dirty VHS sound. And it's free. It's a free plugin. While I was there downloading that, I also got their Commodore 64 emulation, and I sent $5 along with that. So, well, it's a plugin I haven't actually tried yet. I figure like Bedroom Producers Blog, they release a lot of free plugins. They keep us updated on the news and stuff like that. $5 is not that much. So I will quickly show you what that synth looks like. So there's the synth. Lots of presets, polyphonic, mono, legato, different LFO shapes. Haven't touched it really other than this. Haven't played with it at all. And the other thing was their new Dirty VHS. which looks like this. So there's a pitch wobble, kind of a tone control, a bunch of different models of VCRs and tapes and junk. And you can adjust how much noise and dirt, chorus and spread. It's pretty neat. There's even a random button and a bunch of presets. That's free. That's a Black Friday announced thing. For software, that's the only thing I got. I've been tempted by a few other things, but I didn't buy anything. So I asked what you got. FabFilter, new R2 reverb. Cool. You got Plugin Doctor and Echo Boy. Nice. Vocaline Ultra, Cornef Pawn Shop Comp. Nice. For hardware, I got a coffee grinder, which has been great the 2 times I've used it. It's a electric one. You can put some beans in the top, set a timer, set how coarse it is. It's a ceramic grinder instead of the blade grinder. And it's actually very quiet. The way I brew my coffee is like immersion, where I just put in the set amount of coffee, add the boiling water, let it sit for 6 minutes, and then strain it out. So I have to have it on nearly the coarsest setting. Nice new monitor. Cool. You got SonarWorks. How have you been getting on with your Mavis? Currently has the lid on it. After creating this shelf here, I haven't integrated it into the setup. I still like it. I wish I could play it with a keyboard sometimes. Celios had a question. How to set a shortcut for the Razor Edit icon in Reaper 7. Okay, so I think you are talking about this button here in the main toolbar. So you want a button that activates that. Pretty sure that Razor tool is actually called Arrange Override B. Okay, so these are the actions. Set Arrange View Override Mouse Modifier as B, so that turns that on. You can set that until you release it, or you can toggle that. So with the toggle, that will toggle between on and off. So that's probably the one to set. So if you want to set that on like the R key or something like that, that will arm that button. Any other buttons, you would use the function called arm next. Arm next action, and that would go in, or toggle arm next action would go into a custom action along with the button that you want to press. Hopefully that answers it. You can always do the Alt right drag to do Razor edits without having to enable this, but this sets it up for the left drag. But it also makes it so that you can't do any other functions while that's active. So that's why I'm not using it too much. I've been using it like maybe twice a week since that was added. I think I maybe used the marquee select once, but usually I'm using the modifier keys. Ash said, I need to unbind everything involving Razor Edit. Never want that, especially accidental. Interesting. I've been really liking Razor Edit for the unique things that it can do, like being able to select multiple envelope lanes, selecting an item and its envelopes except some, and being able to copy and paste that different places, or being able to trim multiple envelopes at once. It's not my default for every edit, but it can do some things that can't be done any other way. So I really like that. About to pull the trigger on some mic parts DIY mic kits to upgrade a pair of AT2020 and a pair of MXL 250 mics they've got laying around. That is a great idea. And make a video about that if you can. Mic Parts is a great company run by Matt McGlynn, who I have worked for in the past with his microphone database at recordinghacks.com. He sent me a mic. So, of course, I got to say that he's a good guy. The Mini K67X, which is a great condenser mic. But if you've got the AT2020s and then MXL 250s, yeah, definitely get those kits because they're pretty cheap and they completely change the sound of those mics for the better. Non-Reaper related question. Do you know if there is an app or software that can apply plugins to a Windows program like Chrome. So I can use something like a de-esser, for example. Yeah, voice meter is one. It may have a de-esser built in. I know, pretty sure it has an EQ built in. I'm not super knowledgeable about all the Windows ones because that world changes often. And like with streaming and stuff. There's a company, it's not Razer, it's not Corsair. SteelSeries? Yeah, okay. It's called Sonar for Streamers. And this is a mic mixing software. I'm pretty sure it has plugin support. It does have what they call studio effects. So it's got an EQ. It's got a noise reduction AI thing or something. I don't know about de-esser. This is for your mic, though. But you might be able to do this with the other sources as well. But I'm not 100% sure. But this is free. Maybe that will solve the problem. Yeah, reducing 4K. Dynamic EQ option would be good. Do I know a good routing guide for voice meter? Not really. I've never used it for my setups. My setups have either been too complicated or I just went with another way. So often I was trying to get two computers to go through OBS. And so voice meter didn't really help with that. Having multiple audio interfaces was good for that. Routing audio over digital connections through SPDIF was good. Or HDMI was good for that. But I never had to EQ the different things. I don't monitor my voice as I'm streaming, so the latency has never been something I've cared about, but I do try to get it in sync in OBS. Hopefully that's it for the questions. I got to figure out how we're going to set up for the sound design stuff. GoPro on. Microphone on. Cool. Okay. So is that a Sapphire dual channel toaster? That's very funny. That's so fucking funny. Thank you for that. Yeah, let's start off with the Instant Pot. Pressure cook, like, $2 minutes. The GoPro can transmit wirelessly to OBS. Technically, yes. Practically, no. It's completely useless that way. There's about a 2-minute delay. It can transfer to phone pretty quickly, but like setting up a network with the GoPro and getting that all set up is not great. I just have a capture card, a long HDMI, and a long USB extension. Yeah, we're literally waiting for water to boil right now. Yeah, I guess people just coming in are probably confused about what we're doing. We're waiting for water to boil to do some sound effects. I guess we'll just switch to this. So, hopefully you can see this okay. Why did the screen go black? I've switched cameras as a quick solution. I could complain all day about GoPros. It's been nothing but problems. Guys, I'm sorry. None of this is going the way I hoped. All right, so this is the Instant Pot steam. All right, I think that's enough of the steam. vinegar, baking soda. Oh, and we lost the second camera. I think this is the most technical difficulties out of any stream ever. All right, so we're gonna record this rack now. We got no batteries in any of the cameras now, so I guess we better go back to the studio. Well, hopefully some of it is useful. Hopefully. All right, so before I transfer these, I'm going to rename and add F3 NTG2, I don't know, kitchen, and add that before name, and copy them all, go to my sample library, go to my need to edit folder, do F3, and media, and paste. A piezo mic stuck to a large baking sheet makes great sounds. It's like a mini plate reverb. Yes. I don't know if I've done that. I've definitely noticed the great sounds from a big baking sheet. Like the thinner the better with that stuff. Oh, the cheap long neck mic? Yeah. Yeah, strangely that adapter, I mentioned this in the stream edit. I didn't realize how bad the noise was. This works fine in the F3, and it works fine in the audio fuse, but it's extremely noisy connected to the Wave XLR. And that was the one interface I hadn't tested yet. All right, as far as I know, had no issues with the actual field recording setup, minus some possible handling noise. For my sound capture stuff, I generally have a couple different tracks. I actually don't know if I rendered these yet. So first track is going to be all the separate recordings, sequential on single track. So the first track is going to be raw. The second track is selects. And then third is generally processed, but I don't always do that. Sometimes I just render them out. Obviously, a lot of this gets cut out. These are 32-bit recordings, so they may be loud. Yeah, I'll just copy the relimit over there. So relimit is set to -2 threshold with a ceiling of -1. So what was the first thing I recorded? I got a tip from Cameron to show the spectrogram. So Reaper has this option to show both peaks and spectrogram. Now I wish it was spectral peaks plus spectrogram, but I don't. It's not. That would be nice to have. So okay, I can identify that there is some sort of weird issue here, but in general, this is probably fine. I want to cut it off before this click. And so anything I want to keep, I'm just going to copy down to the track below. And I will mute this track just so we don't hear both. So just copying these. And it's up to you, like, whether you keep this little click at the beginning or just start at the meat of it. But really, we're just taking our raw recordings and reducing it down to usable source material. So if I open this up in another project, I don't have to do noise reduction. I don't have to edit out little clicks and things like that. I don't have to worry about this high frequency sound. I don't hear it, but there is something there. Let's just put in a spectral edit and isolate that. Solo spectral edit. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's at 20K. So not too concerned about that, but that's something that should be removed before it goes to the next stage. I still have yet to use the spectral stuff. Use it. Just turn it on. See if it helps. Oh yeah, there's a good sound. Yeah, the wireless is a shotgun. Okay, so I'm just going to trim out all that other stuff. I definitely don't need that. Mainly, we want to just take anything possibly good and move it down to the selects track. Now, there's definitely some background noise that will be removed between the selects track and the final export. Sometimes just to make it easier to listen to, just throw on RX. Often I'm using the voice denoise as a quick fix. I'll put it on music mode, reduce by like 6, gentle. Just something as simple as 10, 12 dB of noise reduction instantly makes it easier to listen to and shows you the potential there. But for now, we're just going to kind of look for where I'm talking and remove that. Okay, don't want that. So this is all good. Move it down. So I don't want anything that that identifies this as being like a small metal bowl. So like those clicks have to go. I did pick up some interference for something. All right, so there's those like click handling noises. Let's see if we do a bit of a low cut here and add in the denoise. And let's just filter out everything above 20K. Sometimes you hear a thing and it's not perfect because there's a bit of handling noise or wind or a little thump. But then with noise reduction, with a bit of EQ, is actually not that bad. And in context of some gore thing, it's probably going to sound okay. So I think I will also keep that little section. Okay, so that's it for the cantaloupe. Okay, so here's the steam from the Instant Pot, and here's where 32-bit is really nice because it didn't clip at all, actually. But it would be pretty loud and clipped if we didn't fix that. Yeah, it's actually really nice to not have to worry about recording levels. Is that the second one? That seems like the second one, not the first recording. Huh. I may have actually stopped recording when I wanted to start recording, and I missed the first Steam thing. Okay, well, that's a good one. And I'm going to turn off the effects there. Okay, so this is one that I won't use because I can hear the plastic. There's a little click. And that's the sort of thing that's a little bit harder to remove. Like in the waveform, you don't see it. It's not worth spending 15 minutes trying to remove that when there's a good one right beside it. Both of these have a little click at the beginning that I don't want. I guess it's more at the end I notice it. Yeah, just as an example, let's see what happens if we fade in the start. Just slightly. Yeah, that actually works better. Probably better to just cut that off entirely. What if you do this? Crossfade that. There, I click that. There's no click if you do that. So that's also another possibility. You can kind of fake the tail a little bit by just doing a little edit there. So I think at this point I had noticed the plastic clicking as I was recording it, and then kind of tried to correct it in the performance. Tried to keep them separate. Not always possible, though. Yeah, Steam kind of works for like fire sounds, I think. At least a little bit. Real fire would be fun to record, but dangerous, obviously. Okay, and here's where I was trying to add some movement to them. So I was just holding the mic in one spot for most of it, and then at this point, adding a little bit of a whoosh in there by just moving the microphone. I think a lot of this is usable. And once I get this stuff edited, it will be available to all channel members and patrons. It might not be this weekend. Deplosive might work on that. Let's try that. A little bit. I'll keep that in mind. Breath control. Huh. It's not detecting it as breaths. No, it's not detecting it as breaths, unfortunately. Yeah. Interesting idea. Fortunately, it didn't work. Actually don't have anything that's good for wind. No, it's all good. Suggestions like that get me to think about things in another way. Okay, there's a couple clicks in there, but they're probably fine. I did something the other day with, I don't know if I showed you this, with decrackle. If you put on output crackle only, it gets real gross. Right? Especially into ODD. So I found that from the plastic bag texture. Isn't it just absolutely disgusting? I made up a effects chain called Oops All Crackles. And get some real gross sounds. So I don't know about this this resonance. Is that cool? Is that crap? It is possible to remove those harmonics. Let's try a D-reverb. What's that company? Acon? Even extract dialogue, maybe. That's interesting sound. Yeah, I think it is kind of cool, but it's no good for that. I mean, it's not designed for that, but set this to other. So after a few seconds, it comes up. Sample that. Anyway, yeah, it's a thing you can do. Oh, it's obviously made worse because of going through ODD. I think it is kind of cool. Not exactly like the source sound you'd probably go for. If you want to like add this to Fire or something. But we've got it both ways. Because that little click's probably not useful. Do that. If you weren't here for the recording section of this, this was a spray bottle, and I had a metal, like a pot cooling rack, cookie sheet cooling rack, and then some aluminum foil on top. And so that's the sound. By the way, the action I'm using to drag down is one of the mouse modifiers called media item left drag, copy item. MIDI item bottom half is just passing through. So copy item. If I hold down shift, I can ignore snap, but I have snap off, so it doesn't matter. So this sound is on the foil. I've got a bit of vinegar and I added baking soda to it. So this is going to be a fairly low level signal. And I will do it with no effects on it. Lots of handling noise, which I'm not happy about. So might have to do this again. Obviously, it's very cheap to do this again. I just wasn't holding the mic correctly. So with noise reduction, is actually deplosive working to the... That's actually helpful. With a low cut, it's a bit too much. So this is possibly a job for a dynamic EQ. So let's try Nova. And instead of filtering out all the lows, let's take band 1, low shelf, set the threshold. Okay, again, I have no noise reduction on here, but let's see. Is that better? Let's do... Okay, so with deplosive off, it does help, but there's still a rattle, so I don't know. This might be a thing that you just do again because it wasn't done right in the first place. Yeah, I can't put the bottle down or anything like that. That totally fucks up the recording. I don't really have any like granular plugins. Let's copy this out to the desktop and then add in a virtual instrument. Phase plant, sampler, granular. Change the length of the grain envelope. I think that's what I was looking for. The thing is, I don't want it to sound affected, really. Okay, so ensemble, get rid of that. Dual delay. You could also use this as like a sidechain input to modulate something. So anyways, it's a lot of steps, but you can use some weird crackly texture as a modifier. Maybe not on the shift parameter, but like, I don't know. You know? Yeah, it made like a bug sound. Maybe we'll attach it to the sync. I don't know. Faceplant is very powerful. It is a tool that I need a lot more time with because I'm always forgetting like little things like where you send the lane to. I'm surprised that I even got an oscillator added in here and how to get to the output because I've struggled with that before. Great synth. It's definitely a distraction for us today. All that to say is that sometimes this crackly texture stuff might sound weird on its own. It can be used as a source material, as like a random oscillator sort of thing, right? For that reason, I'm going to keep these. It's actually quite beefy. Short sounds are sometimes useful too. A rip sound. That sound you wouldn't expect to get from wet aluminum foil, I think. Okay, I don't like some of these thumps in here, but this can move on to the next stage. Will, you're making me hungry. But yeah, I totally agree. And that's a sound everyone needs in their collection. I don't know if I like any of these. I think these scrapes are okay. I don't care that much about the other ones. Could I invert this and use it to remove the sound from the other recordings? I don't know. These weren't so noisy. Let's try the other denoiser. Spectral D's nuts. Yeah, this denoiser is just so much better. I don't know why. I guess the main thing is the latency. I like the the low latency of the voice denoise, but this one really, it does sound better in every way. The problem is that whenever the mic changes position or gain or anything, you change the gain of the recordings, you have to re-spectral noise. Adaptive works okay sometimes. That takes away too much of the original sound. Okay, so these can be useful for Magic sound design. So yeah, let's just make a quick effects change just on this one item. Crystallizer. It's interesting, right? I can kind of do some weird sounds. So this is the sort of thing you want to like copy it and then when it's 100% wet, like glue it. And then maybe that gets, you know, put underneath another track. And then both these go into a folder, and then this folder will get like, I'll put reverb right on it. Just the first one I saw. Maybe reverse this. And then put in the shimmer. Render selection. Do I still have crystallizer on that one? Okay. I don't know. Take like here, another track, but not with reverb on it. And then more of the like something like that. I'm gonna drop this one on there. I don't know. Like I forgot what I'm doing. I just went off on a tangent. Maybe reverse that one. sometimes you need to do things like rendering a track as a stem. Sounds like that. And then you reverse that. So that was crystallizer rendered, so there was no source sound, and then run through shimmer, Valhalla shimmer. And so we could turn off, keep pitch, and then I can shrink this by 2. If I was more careful, that would actually be a clean loop. Got to select from the middle of that. The middle of this. Okay, now we're in drone country. Okay, why did I do that? I think it's time to eat again. I better go. This is like 3 hours of recording at this point. Yeah, just about 3 hours. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this live stream. A little different than normal. I'm going to keep working on these recordings. 19 minutes and 40 seconds of raw recording. That's going to be chopped down into, I don't know, 100 little bits. And I will, at some point, add this to my collection of samples for patrons and YouTube members. I have a bunch of stuff up there already, so just look at the member perks and stuff. Or if you don't know where to download it, let me know. Contact me on Discord or by email, and I'll get you the links to that. But yeah, that was fun. I got one of the things done that I wanted to do, or at least started anyways. I got to show off my field recording setup. Again, if you missed the beginning of the stream, I set up this little compact field recorder setup with a shotgun mic that can go forwards or backwards, or compact to fit in a backpack, and it's got a tripod so you don't have to put it down on top of the field recorder on the ground. All kind of modular. It seems to work pretty well. There is some handling noise that I found, but it's usually just like if the cable touches my hand or if I'm just not really paying attention. The next step is getting that to be stereo. I think that will be a cool setup. I would like to do MS. The 2 mics that I have that are capable of bidirectional are the CAD M179 or this Movo, I forget what it's called, VSM 7. They're both multi-pattern mics. They're both quite heavy, especially with a shock mount, but mainly they're very big. Somebody was talking about mic parts. You're probably not in the stream anymore, but I should talk to Matt about getting basically like something that's the size of a capsule, but without the body, and have this part of it separate, like have a short cable, even a long cable. See if there's any technical reason why the 2 pieces need to be together. Because then you could just take any shotgun mic and clip a bidirectional capsule right below it, like that, and move most of the weight down to the handle. That's what I'm thinking. I don't think that exists yet. Although I did see, hang on. I do have an idea actually. Maybe this is possible. Probably not with the F3 though. Yeah, check this out. If you have a Zoom recorder, you can get these extension cables for the different mics. So you get like mid-side capsule, I guess, on the extension below the shotgun capsule. I don't know, any other ideas? Like some sort of detachable head for a microphone. All I've seen is this cable for the Zoom F5, F6. I'm not sure what other devices it actually works with. But that's got to be a thing, right? Being able to have the capsule separate from the body. There's probably a technical reason why you can't do that. Something that is just like up to these screws here. And then a cable comes out and it comes down to the bottom half of the body. Maybe it's more likely to pick up interference. I need to talk to Matt McGlynn to see if that's something that's possible. I'm sure that like field recording people, sound designers would be interested in some sort of bidirectional capsule that can just clip on underneath a shotgun mic so it's, you know, not really any more weight. It is one extra cable, but that would give them mono plus stereo with basically one mic capsule. And then it can all go inside of a blimp. I think that'd be really cool. That's where we're at with this this project. And I've been talking for way too many hours. It's time to go. Thank you so much for watching this stream, for joining me today for many hours. I'll see you next time. I'll see you sometime this week. If you missed the previous one, there is an edit I published yesterday, so check that out. Have a great day, guys.